Welcome to the Business Value Exchange. My name is Helen Beckett. I'm the community moderator. Have with me here today Mark Thompson, who is Senior Lecturer at Cambridge Judge Business School and co-author of a new book that's out called Digitising Government. Very pleased to have you here today, Mark.
Thanks, Helen.
You are an enthusiast, some would say an idealist about digital government. And in your new book, you really throw down the gauntlet to government, saying they have shielded themselves from the full force of digital disruption that is sweeping through business everywhere that is not in the public
Absolutely.
services. Can you just explain your thesis?
Of course. If we look at digital business models emerging all over the planet, and some examples, I'm thinking about peer-to-peer lending, Spotify, Skyscanner, eBay, TripAdvisor, Rightmove, Uber, Amazon, click and collect models, the club card, even black box car insurance, where if you're a good driver and you have one of these boxes, you can get favorable rates. All of these new business models and countless others are digital because they use horizontal platforms, web-enabled infrastructure, to broker new and direct relationships between people, services, and things. And they also learn and collect data on those activities as they go. In contrast, government, which has been called by Tim O'Reilly as vending machine government, still operates really where you stick your taxes in at the top and then you select for maybe one or two relatively unpalatable options in a very kind of rigid way. So the contrast between the two really couldn't be more different. And that's why we started really talking a lot more about the notion of government as a platform.
What would the benefits be if we made this enormous move from kind of this siloed horizontal approach that you described to an open marketplace almost? What would the deliverables be?
For the public sector, the implications are actually revolutionary. And we started hearing about some of these being touted around already. So connected cities with real-time embedding sensors will enable evidence-based planning and responses. Buses will run in time, trains will connect with each other, traffic flow will be optimized, bins will know when they need emptying, the elderly or sick will spend less time in institutions and more in their own homes, supported by an array of biometric tech, of course. Robots will start to maintain infrastructure, and we laugh, but we know that self-driving cars are already on the roads, and citizens will increasingly demand unmediated access to information about themselves and data about themselves, and particularly much more control over their interactions with government, how frequently that happens and in what format that happens. So that's a very, very different setup to today.
So you paint a picture of a world which is a completely different relationship between the citizen and government. They're more vocal participants, more active participants, and shaping services even. However, the situation we're in, many would justify government that government has a very particular role as a public servant, that it exists in that way for a particular reason, and that they have to engage with numerous stakeholders. It can't mimic business. Do you think that's any justification? Are there any genuine impediments?
I think the government has to do some very, very clear thinking about this. So undoubtedly, there is a policy role, there is obviously a procurement role towards government, and there's a regulatory role, and those are very, very important legal functions that government still has to continue to maintain. I think where government has maybe drifted offline a little bit, particularly over the last 20 to 30 years, where we've seen a mushrooming of state spending in terms of consumption of GDP, is government's increasing predilection for actually building and delivering all of its services itself. And that increasingly has meant a decoupling of a public sector domain from the unfolding innovation and entrepreneurship of, if you like, the globalized economy. So we've ended up in a little bit of a backwater.
Do you think government as a platform would resolve this?
I think almost undoubtedly, because government as a platform I think it's very important to be clear about what we're talking about, because there's often a lot of misunderstanding about what a platform is, particularly within the tech community.
Yeah.
So when I talk about government as a platform, I'm not talking about a piece of tech. Government building a wonderful silver bullet piece of technology which is going to solve everybody's problems. If we could just briefly use the example of the electricity market, because it's a very clear one, the fact that you and I can go into John Lewis and choose from a vast array of televisions and kettles and other electronic appliances at relatively low cost that work simply when we plug them into the wall, is because we all subscribe to a single platform. And that platform isn't the electricity, the physical electricity itself, it's the 240 volts open standard. So the fact that you are happy to run the same standard of electricity as everybody else means that you can consume the electricity platform and, of course, all the innovative ecosystem of products and services available around that 240 volts in the UK. The task for the government is to do the same thing. So rather than building lots of magic bullet technology, whether they're open source or not, it doesn't matter. The clarity of thinking required around government as a platform is to realize that we all need to progressively standardize on the ways in which we do things. Because let's face it, the great majority of what government does is collect money, pay money out, open some workflows, do some case management, check some identity. There are actually relatively few major transactions that government does, and those things could all primarily be done the same if architected properly.
Mark Thompson, many thanks for presenting a vision how digital government could be and through the means of government as a platform. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.